Hey, welcome. This is Jason Clemmons, Doctor of Chiropractic at the Rock Health and Wellness Center, and this is Life with Jason Clemmons, DC. We are coming to you live right here from the Rock Health and Wellness Center studios in Lubbock, Texas on this Wednesday, January the 15th. And we're live on 98.7 Walk by Faith Radio on AM 1420 Lubbock Christian Nation. We're streaming on 987radio.com, and we're live on all kinds of social media pages, Facebook, YouTube, and X. Hope you guys had a great day. It's been a great day at the Rock. It's been a good week. It's good to be back in the routine. Hey, January's halfway over. How about that? I was like, holy cow. It's like it just starts and then wham, here you go. So this month, it seemed like we just started and now we're halfway over and it'll be gone before you know it. And then it'll be a couple blinks and we'll be back around to Christmas. So, what they say about the lion or the gazelle or whatever that saying is in Africa, when the sun comes up, you better get running. Yeah, that's the truth. You've got things to do. You probably ought to get after it and get them done. So, and remember, your health matters. So your health is going to dictate how well you can get that stuff done. And if your health fails you, you're going to have a hard time getting all your stuff done. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. Monday night, we did taking health to church. Last night, we got into pain. And I got a little bit intense. And I thought about it. I said, you probably ought to apologize for that. And then I thought, no, I'm not going to apologize for that. If getting a little intense saves your life, then why would I apologize for that? I don't want to do that. If it saves your son's life or your daughter's life, if it improves your life and you make a difference to millions of people around the world, why would I want to apologize for that? Sometimes you just got to say it. And I think if you listen to the show enough and you listen to us for long enough, that you realize, like, I come from the idea that we're all in this thing together, right? It's a team. It's a team sport. And I'm a team sport guy. And when you're a quarterback in a huddle, there's things that are said, believe it or not, there's things that are said in a huddle that you probably ought not to repeat. But at the end of the day, it's the coolest thing because it makes no difference who you are. It makes no difference if you're a white guy or a black guy or a Mexican guy or whatever where you came from. Doesn't matter if you're a rich guy or a poor guy. You're just when we got in the huddle, we were Red Raiders, and it didn't matter if you were from Roswell, New Mexico, or Odessa, or Chicago, Miami. None of it didn't make any difference. We are all Red Raiders, and that's kind of the way that I approach this show, and in the way that we do our practice, and the way that as far as I'm concerned, you guys you want to spend some of your time listening to this show. I consider us all on the same team. So if I get a little intense, it's just because it's important to me and I want you to do well. So if you're hooked on opioids and you want to get off opioids, and hopefully you never get hooked on them, but if you get off of them, at least you can understand some of the mechanisms from what was going on last night. So if you missed the show, go back, check it out. It'll explain itself. And so tonight what I want to do is, because we kind of took the whole night. I mean, we kind of ran out of time a little bit last night. I want to just kind of take some of that and just kind of move it forward, and talk about a couple of points that I didn't get covered last night, and then talk about some referred pain. What does it mean to have referred pain? What is referred pain? Like a heart attack gives you left arm pain, or a gallbladder goes up into your right trap, or whatever. One of my guys had pancreatitis over the weekend, last week. And so he was talking about all the different places around his abdomen and his rib cage and all the stuff that he was getting this pain. And I was like, that would be a great topic to talk about, referred pain. And we'll talk about that tonight too. So a couple things in the news today that I thought I would share with us share with everybody before we get too deep in that pain stuff. And, there are some things. Remember that time I told you that lady asked me if I knew something about something, and I told her no, and she said, there's just so much you don't know. And I was like, yep, there's so much I don't know. Well, one of the things that I don't know a lot about is food dyes. I don't know a lot. I haven't done a lot of study on food dyes, but I did see this today, and I thought I'd bring it up on the show. The FDA to revoke. This comes from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA .gov right here. So this is from the horse's mouth. FDA to revoke authorization for the use of red number 3 in food and ingested drugs. This is January 15th, 2025. The FDA is revoking the authorization for the use of FD&C red number 3 as a matter of law. Really interesting language that they said right there. Not as a matter of science, not as a matter of health, but as a matter of law, based on the Delaney Clause of the Federal Food and Drug and Cosmetic Act. The FDA is amending its color additive regulations to no longer allow for the use of FD&C red number 3 in food and ingested drugs in response to a 2022 color additive petition. The petition requested the agency review whether the Delaney Clause applied and cited, among other data and information, 2 studies that showed cancer in laboratory male rats exposed to high levels of FD&C red number 3 due to rat-specific hormonal mechanisms. The way the FD&C red number 3 causes cancer in male rats does not occur in humans, according to this article. Relevant exposures to levels of this red number 3 for humans are typically much lower than those that cause the effect shown in male rats. Okay, what they're saying is you got to give those rats very, 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 very high doses of this, and it's a hormonal problem in the rat that's causing it to have cancer, or to show that right there. But studies in other animals and in humans did not show these effects. Claims that the use of this red number 3 in food and in ingested drugs puts people at risk are not supported by available scientific information. Well, see, if it's not supported by available scientific information, then you should have some guts and say, no, we're not going to change our ruling, and it's fine. But they didn't. And so it came in as a matter of law because this Delaney Clause, which was done like way back in the day. Let's see, the Delaney Clause enacted in 1960 as a part of color additives amended to the FD&C Act prohibits FDA authorization of a food additive or color additive if it has been found to induce cancer in humans or animals. So I think that's kind of a two-sided thing right there. I think they're saying, okay, well, because the law says it, we're going to get rid of this red number 3, but not because it's dangerous to you. Even though the law says, if it says that there's cancer, causing problems in animals or humans. So the reason I don't know that much about it, and the reason, because I've just never studied it, but one of the things is it's in processed food. And if you just don't eat processed food, then you're not going to ever get it, right? You're not going to get it in steak and vegetables and nuts and berries and the things that we eat, all the free range type of stuff, the eggs and all that sort of thing. You're just not going to get this coloring. So what you do get it in, and I looked up not red number 3, but let me look it up right quick. I looked up yellow number 5. Earlier, and so list of foods, and I'm just searching right here. This comes from Newsweek. First one that showed up right there to give us a list of foods. Let's see if it's see if they're going to even give us like Pez candy, assorted fruit, Double Bubble, Original Twist, Bubble Gum, Brock's candy corn, Jelly Belly candies, Troll Sour candies, different Betty Crocker fruit by the foot, toaster pastries, cookies with red icing, strawberry flavored milk, certain ice cream flavored and flavors, and frozen yogurt, ice pops and fruit bars, maraschino cherries, some fruit cocktails. So you got to kind of watch out for that stuff, right? Some cough syrups, some gummy vitamins, Pediasure, Grow, and Gain. So anytime they put that in there, it's it's just a scheme. Well, Monday night we talked about how we don't want to twist. We don't want to twist the scriptures, right? We don't want to scheme people, and that's what that is. Those anytime you see those colors in foods, that's just a scheme. The only reason they put it in there is to make it sell more, not because of any sort of health benefit. They're not putting color like that, artificial colors, red dye and red, yellow, number 5 and number 6. They're not putting that in your food because it makes your food more healthy. They're putting that in your food to trick you into buying more of it. That's what the whole point is in the first place. So, but let's check this out down here at the bottom of the article. Manufacturers who use red number 3 in food and ingested drugs will have until January 15th, 2027 or January 18th, 2028, respectively, to reformulate their products. Other countries still currently allow for certain uses of red number 3. However, foods imported to the U.S. must comply with the U.S. requirements. Okay, this is our government. This came straight off of FDA.gov, right? This is our government, and they're saying that we're taking this off the market because it meets by law a standard that says it's unhealthy for you. Like it could be dangerous. It could cause cancer for you, right? But you have till January 15th of 2027 to quit putting it in your red icing and your push pops or whatever, right? It's like, that is just crazy. That they did the same thing with thimerosal and vaccines. They said, hey, well, as soon as we use up all this batch, you can't use it anymore. And it's like, what? Yeah. You got to watch it. You got to watch it when you're doing food. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Just wanted you to know that it happened, and your red things might be a little bit different red when they start using beets or something like that. But it probably won't be till 2027. I can't imagine those guys just jumping on that right now and get rid of that red number 3. And it just kind of makes you wonder if you own a food company and red number 3 and yellow number 5 are not healthy for people, why do you put it in the food, Mr. Kraft? Like, why do you put it in the food? You say, well, it doesn't do anything. Well, if it doesn't do anything, then why is the FDA telling us that we no longer need it? Right? Why did the Delaney law or the Delaney clause come into effect in the first place? Right? You got to watch it. You got to watch those people out there. You got to watch them. They're in it for money. They're going to try to get as much of that money as they can. Okay? So that's all I got to say about that. All right. So let's get into what we were talking about last night, because we were talking about solving the problem at the source, right? And we were talking about the 4 steps that pain gets transferred into the brain. It gets taken from the periphery into the spinal cord, into the brain. The brain sends a signal back down to inhibit that pain, and then we have this perception. I had one of my ladies was working out at the gym today, and she was doing some deep squats, and she hurt her knee, and she literally had to be carried out of the gym into her car by one of the guys working out in the gym. She had to be carried, and so she didn't know where to go, so she just drove over here to my office, which is fabulous. Like I was honored that I was the first place she said, I don't know, should I go to my orthopedist or should I have gone to my medical doctor? So I just drove over here. I didn't know where to go, so I drove over here. And so I had to go out and help her and get in the building and kind of all that sort of thing. And um, and then she had damage to her knee, and she I'm pretty sure she has an avulsion fracture, but that's another. I mean, we're working on that, and she's following up, and she's called her medical doctor and all that sort of thing. We took X-rays of her and all that sort of issue, right? But what I was going to say about that was this: when she got out of the car and came into the building, she was very upset about what was going on with her knee. Once we worked on it, once we did some things, I put some rock tape on it, we did some voodoo wrap stuff here. Um, and some people call it flossing. Uh, we did some of the things that we do. She calmed down a little bit, and she said, "You know what? It's better." And that was a great example of the reason it was better was not only what we did, and really probably not any of what we did, maybe, but because what we did was very little. But what we did from the, from what we talked about last night is working on from the periphery to the spinal cord, right? So we went from the knee, and then the pain in the knee. So now we have injury in the knee, and that information is being carried to the spinal cord, and then that information is being carried to the brain, and then that information is going up all the way to the top of the brain, and now we're getting this downward piece of information coming back to try to modulate that a little bit at the spinal cord. But then we're also getting that information that's traveling to different parts of the brain in the limbic system to determine the emotional response to the pain. And the pain is registered in the brain. So what did we do to make it feel a little bit better? We did a little bit of work